Okay, today I'm going to document a ride that goes from Lancaster, California to downtown LA. Total mileage is a tick under 65. Saddle time is 5 hours 40 minutes and change. Average speed is 11.4 and total elevation gain is 2818. Okay, so we start at Lancaster and the beginning elevation was about 2,200 feet. I would rate this ride as moderately difficult because of the uphill and the wind. And I picked a terrible weekend in terms of air quality because of the wildfires. So we start 22 and change, we climb, do a little more climbing to about, I think peak is 3,500. And then it's kind of downhill from there all the way to downtown LA. So we begin our journey from Lancaster. I picked a good time of year. It's mid-November, so temperatures are mid-60s, and I'm taking off roughly around 10:30 a.m., which is kind of a late start. Here we turn onto the main strip and go down a straightaway, and we're pedaling toward the bumpy stuff. You know, I probably would not recommend this ride to the average cyclist just because you typically have so little shoulder space in terms of road, and it'll get worse later. Here we begin to go uphill, and it's not bad. I mean, the grade is maybe 4 or 5%, and again, the temperature is really nice at probably low to mid 60s. Bicycle is a no-name hardtail, and I've got urban tires on it. View looks like looking back to Lancaster, leaving the city basin behind. Now there are portions of the climb that were pretty tough. This section here, the grade goes anywhere from about 8% to about 12%. Here we finally crest, and we begin to enjoy some of the fruits of our labor. As I mentioned, this ride is probably not for the faint of heart because you just don't have a lot of shoulder space, and of course you have traffic both ways. You have to have your head on a swivel because you don't want to stay on the shoulder because that's where all the debris kind of builds up. So you want to be on the main road, but again, you have to be mindful of the traffic coming from behind. So right there is a good example of how you need to be able to share the road with cars without panicking. After the downhill, I find myself, I guess, on a plateau or a mesa or whatever they call it. Look how narrow the shoulder is. I mean, you virtually have no room. So it's a little bit sketchy. And in addition, I'm having to deal with a headwind, anywhere from 10 to 15. So right now I'm thinking I should have started earlier. However, things will take a turn for the better. I'm coming up this road, and what do they call it when you're minding your own business and you get something kind of cool that you weren't expecting, like serendipity or something like that. So in the middle of nowhere, there is a small, a reservoir? So I'm wondering if this is open to the public. This chain link fence seems to suggest not, but who knows? I'll have to come back and check. So this is my favorite portion of the ride. I've just passed the reservoir and it's a downhill portion. Now what makes it really cool is there is water flowing out of the reservoir, and it leads to a much lusher environment than you would imagine anywhere near Lancaster. So if I told you that this portion of the video is from the San Gabriel Mountains, you know, I could probably easily sell you on that. Here I get passed by a pack of road bikes. For a split second I thought about hitching my trailer to them, but then I realized that I had another 40 miles to go, and so discretion got the better part of valor. A few more miles and I begin to reach the outskirts of the Valencia suburbs. You know, the rest of the ride, the scenery is all stuff that we've seen before. So I'm just going to give you brief clips here and there. Here I'm going to stop for lunch, and I'm going to show you what my diet will consist of for the entirety of the day. Now, I have a pretty good idea of how to fuel my body for endurance events, but I'm not, you know, an organic quinoa kind of guy. So this is peanut butter. And it's not just regular peanut butter. It's not a fancy brand like Skippy. It's called All Good. Now, you've probably never heard of that brand. And to be honest, neither had I until I went to the 99-cent store. So again, I'm not a fancy pants, fake it till you make it Hollywood wannabe. I have no problem putting Arco gas in my body. That, and I mix in some gummy cola something, and I wash it down with syrup consisting of carbs and electrolytes. Here we arrive in downtown Valencia. Not much to say here. And then we hop onto a bike path. Very little traffic considering that it is around noon or 1 p.m. on a Saturday. Look how nice the pavement is. It's clearly a bike path that is well maintained. The only problem is I've been facing a headwind all day, and it's still blowing here at around 10 miles per hour. On top of that, the air quality is terrible. I feel like I've smoked half a pack of Camel no filters. And here I arrive just in time for my wedding vows. That is about as quick a drive-by wedding as you will ever witness. This is going to be the last significant hill. It is the Sierra Highway Pass. And even at 4 times the actual speed, I still look like a glacier. I'm really tired here. And this would be the last significant downhill. This is where the 5, the 14, the 210 all come together. Now this is a bike path. I guess the neighborhood is Sun Valley. As you can see, it's a little bit different from the bike path back in Valencia. So after spending a little bit of time here, I decided it was a little bit sketchy, and I'm going to take my chances on San Fernando Road. This path is not one that I would be probably riding in the dark. Eventually, I make my way to Burbank, and I think this is called the Empire Shopping Center. It's not especially interesting except for the fact that one of my favorite stores resides here, and that is REI, of course. This would be the entrance to Griffith Park from Victory Boulevard, and it basically signals that I'm just about home. Now the GoPro has a funny way of making it look like I'm running a stop sign, but rest assured I'm coming to a complete halt. Here I'm going over the 5 freeway, and this will put me on the LA River bike path. That's pretty much it. At this point, I'm about 4 or 5 miles away from home and definitely on familiar turf. And that's pretty much all, folks. I want to thank you all for joining me on my journey. There is some construction work being done on the LA River, so a little bit like running an obstacle course, but once I get past a couple of hurdles, I'm home free. Again, thanks for coming along, and we will probably see you soon on a kayak fishing trip.